Have you ever wondered if there's a right way or a wrong way to blend your vegetable soups? It might sound surprising, but for many people over 70, something as simple as a homemade soup can have an even bigger impact on health and comfort than it did earlier in life. One of the most common pieces of advice we hear is to eat more veggies. So we often think tossing them into a blender or pot is automatically going to be healthy. Yet many seniors experience issues such as unexpected digestive discomfort, poor nutrient absorption, or even loss of appetite when their soup preparation process isn't quite right. Today, we'll explore 3 frequent mistakes people over 70 make when blending their vegetable soups, and why avoiding these pitfalls can make a noticeable difference in how you feel after mealtime. Have you ever spoken with friends or neighbors who share a love for hearty soups, only to discover that while they enjoy the warmth and ease of pureed vegetables, they also struggle with cramps, acid reflux, or sudden fatigue? These challenges often go unrecognized because they're attributed to normal aging. But our bodies do change in ways that affect digestion, taste, and how well we absorb nutrients, so it's worth taking a closer look. Addressing common soup blending mistakes can go a long way toward enjoying not just a delicious bowl of comfort, but also tangible health benefits like steadier energy levels, gentler digestion, and possibly better blood pressure management. Why does this matter so much? Vegetable soups can be a true powerhouse for older adults who need a gentler diet, especially if chewing harder foods has become an issue, or if there's a desire to minimize added fats and heavy ingredients. A well-blended soup can pack vitamins, minerals, fiber, and essential fluids all into one tasty meal that's easy to swallow. But if certain techniques are off, if there are hidden ingredients that spike sodium, or if important nutrients are getting destroyed by improper cooking, then what was intended to boost health could wind up contributing to the very problems you're hoping to avoid. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly how to avoid these 3 common mistakes. You'll discover how to preserve nutrients without overcooking, how to blend safely if you're using medication that affects your digestion, and why balancing ingredients properly is crucial for your heart and blood sugar. Think of this as a simple shift in your kitchen routine that transforms your soup from a bland bowl into a powerful ally for your health after 70. I've spent years talking with dietitians, home cooks, and healthcare professionals about the best ways to optimize meals for seniors. While I'm not here to replace a doctor's advice, I do want to share practical tips that have helped countless individuals enhance their nutritional intake in a way that truly supports their overall well-being. If you're curious about whether you've been making any of these mistakes, I'd love for you to think about your last homemade soup. Did you ever notice feeling a little queasy afterward? Did you find yourself needing extra salt or seasoning just to make it palatable? Or do you sometimes wonder if the vitamins have been lost through all that blending? Over the next few minutes, you'll discover how small, mindful tweaks to your soup-making process can help you avoid digestive upsets, preserve the benefits of those wholesome veggies, and craft a meal that actually tastes delicious. Let's explore these oversights so you can keep on enjoying a classic comfort food that keeps you healthy, active, and confident in your golden years. One oversight that often catches seniors off guard is related to cooking and blending times. It might seem convenient to let vegetables simmer endlessly until they practically dissolve, and then blend them to a smooth puree. But overcooking vegetables can lead to significant nutrient loss, especially for water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and certain B vitamins. Take Susan, for example, who is 73 and loves to make a big pot of soup in the morning to enjoy throughout the day. She used to boil her carrots, celery, zucchini, and onions until they were so soft that any stirring would practically mash them. Then she'd blend the mixture into a silky smooth broth. But after a while, Susan found she felt more lethargic and wondered if she was genuinely getting the healthy benefits she expected. Despite adding lots of veggies, her soups tasted a bit bland, and she often felt she needed extra salt to compensate for the missing flavor. Many people assume that if the soup contains vegetables, it has to be good for you no matter how it's made. The misconception arises from the belief that veggies maintain their full nutrient profile no matter how long they're cooked. The truth is that some vitamins start to break down as cooking temperatures and times increase. For older adults whose nutritional needs may be higher in certain vitamins, every bit of nutrient retention can help with daily energy levels, immune function, and even mood stability. One important step is to pay attention to cooking times. Rather than letting your vegetables boil excessively, consider gently steaming or lightly sautéing them. Then add them to a pot of simmering broth for a shorter duration. Just enough to soften them for blending, but not so long that you lose the vivid colors and fresh flavors. Also remember that if you're using a high-powered blender, the blending process itself can generate heat, which can further break down nutrients if you leave it running for too long. Instead of blending everything at a high speed for minutes on end, try a pulse method or short bursts of blending until you reach the desired texture. This allows for a better consistency and helps you avoid overheating the soup. The benefits of shorter cooking and mindful blending are twofold. Physically, you retain more of the vitamins and minerals that can support bone strength, nerve function, and heart health. You may notice you have slightly more stamina in the hours after lunch, or that your immune system feels more robust during flu season. Emotionally, enjoying a soup that still feels vibrant, colorful, and flavorful can boost appetite and prevent that sense of meal fatigue many seniors experience when their food seems dull or repetitive. Another simple tip is to add certain herbs and spices after blending. For instance, if you're using heat-sensitive herbs like basil or parsley, adding them at the end can help preserve their flavor and nutrient content. Also, experiment with liquid consistency. If you find that your soup is too thick, add a bit more water, low-sodium broth, or even a splash of almond milk for a creamier consistency. You'll not only preserve more nutrients this way, but you'll also craft a soup that's more appealing to the taste buds. If you've ever considered whether you might be cooking those vegetables too long or blending them too aggressively, this is a chance to experiment. Think about the vegetables you enjoy most, broccoli, spinach, cauliflower, and try timing them just enough to become fork tender. Notice if that slight tweak makes you feel more energized or more inclined to savor the soup. And if you have a friend or neighbor who also loves to cook, why not share this tip with them? Compare notes about how much better your soups taste and how you feel afterward. Another frequent mistake arises when well-intentioned cooks add too many high-sodium ingredients to enhance flavor. This might start innocently. Maybe you use a ready-made vegetable broth, toss in a bouillon cube, or season generously with table salt to bring out the taste of your vegetables. At first, it seems harmless, but many people find themselves experiencing swollen ankles, elevated blood pressure, or nighttime cramps after a salty meal. This issue can become more pronounced after 70, since kidney function and cardiovascular resilience might not be what they used to be. It's easy to see why this misunderstanding occurs. We grow up learning that salt makes food taste better, and after a certain age, taste buds can become less sensitive, prompting some seniors to instinctively reach for the salt shaker. The problem is that too much sodium can aggravate fluid retention, potentially affecting the heart, joints, and overall circulation. Frank, who is 78, found this out the hard way. He would blend a pot of soup filled with healthy kale and carrots, but then drop in 2 bouillon cubes because he felt his taste buds needed that flavor boost. Not long afterward, he noticed he had more trouble walking comfortably. His ankles would swell, and some days he felt short of breath going up a flight of stairs. The new perspective here is realizing you can achieve robust, satisfying flavor without relying on excessive salt or high-sodium products. One approach is to read labels carefully on your broth or stock. Look for low-sodium or no-salt added options. These alternatives may initially taste bland if you're accustomed to saltier foods, but adding herbs such as thyme, rosemary, or oregano can quickly make up for it. You can also incorporate garlic, onions, ginger, or lemon juice to provide an aromatic, bright twist. Another option is using salt-free seasoning blends, which can be found in many grocery stores. These blends often feature dried herbs, spices, or even dehydrated vegetables that lend depth to your soup without the need for extra sodium. If you're used to adding an entire bouillon cube, try adding just half or even a quarter to see if you still get a pleasant flavor. Gradual reduction in salt helps retrain your taste buds. Over time, you might discover that foods you once needed to heavily season to taste good are perfectly palatable with only a pinch of salt or even none at all. This approach not only helps manage blood pressure and swelling, but also contributes to better overall cardiovascular health. Emotionally, lowering salt can give you a greater sense of control, especially if you've been concerned about fluid retention or your next doctor's visit. Some seniors worry that reducing salt will make their food too bland, robbing them of the joy of eating. To work around this, consider healthy fats like a drizzle of olive oil or a small handful of roasted nuts blended into the soup. Fats carry flavor compounds across your palate and can make a dish taste richer with less salt. You can also incorporate pungent ingredients like onions or leeks, which provide flavor depth. If you're okay with a bit of natural sweetness, add a small portion of roasted squash or carrots for a subtle sweet note that balances out other flavors. Blending these ingredients together creates a layered taste profile that won't leave you missing the salt shaker. Remember to be mindful of how medications might influence fluid balance or sodium sensitivity. If you have questions about that, checking in with a healthcare professional or a nutritionist can help. They might suggest guidelines for how much sodium is reasonable for your specific situation. In fact, a small notebook or food diary can be handy for noticing any correlation between a particularly salty meal and how your body feels the next day. This level of attentiveness not only supports your physical well-being, but also fosters a positive relationship with food as you explore the numerous flavor possibilities that come from herbs, spices, and careful ingredient selection. On the topic of ingredients, the third major mistake often involves neglecting the synergy between certain nutrients or ignoring the role of fiber in a blended soup. Many older adults include plenty of vegetables like carrots, celery, or potatoes, but then strain the mixture or peel away every bit of fiber before blending. Alternatively, they might rely exclusively on one or two types of vegetables, missing out on the broader range of vitamins, minerals, and fibers that come from variety. That might lead to blood sugar swings, digestive complaints, or even reduced overall nutritional benefit from the soup. It's commonly believed that because blending vegetables reduces them to a smooth texture, fiber content becomes negligible. Some even assume that to have a truly creamy soup, you have to remove any fibrous material. However, even blended soups can contain plenty of fiber if you keep the skins on certain vegetables and don't filter out the pulp. Let's look at what happened with Barbara, who was 76. She had been experiencing irregular digestion for years and felt that a bland, pureed soup would be easiest on her stomach. She'd peel her carrots, strain out any small pieces from the broth, and rely mostly on potatoes for bulk. While it tasted decent, she found she was still bloated and often lacked energy. After chatting with a friend, Barbara realized that she was missing crucial nutrients and fiber by peeling and straining so obsessively. She began blending her vegetables with the skins left on, when safe and clean, adding in leafy greens such as spinach or kale, and occasionally tossing in legumes like lentils. Within a few weeks, she noticed that her digestion felt more regular, and she stayed fuller for a longer period after each meal. Fiber serves multiple roles. It not only supports regular bowel movements, but can help stabilize blood sugar and enhance cardiovascular health. It can also promote a healthy gut microbiome, something that becomes increasingly valuable as we age. Many seniors find that once they get enough fiber from a balanced diet, they feel less need for additional supplements or over-the-counter aids to stay regular. Plus, they feel more satisfied, which can help prevent late-night snacking on less healthy foods. For those worried that fiber might irritate the stomach or worsen heartburn, moderation is key. You can experiment with introducing just one high-fiber ingredient, like a small handful of cooked beans or chickpeas, into the soup at first. Notice how your body responds. Some individuals who have chronic digestive issues may want to cook those high-fiber items a bit longer so they're softer and easier to blend. The benefit of blending is that the resulting puree is gentler on the digestive tract while still providing those fibers. If your doctor or dietitian has cautioned you about certain ingredients, you can still add variety by focusing on vegetables you tolerate well, such as zucchini, peas, well-cooked onions, or certain squashes, and simply blending them in different ratios to keep your meals interesting. Sometimes the synergy between nutrients is overlooked. Certain vitamins are better absorbed with a bit of healthy fat. For instance, vitamins A, D, E, and K. If you've been blending only vegetables and water, you might be missing out on optimal absorption. Including a small measure of healthy fat, such as avocado oil, olive oil, or a small handful of ground flax seeds, can help your body make the most of the vitamins in your soup. You can also add a splash of milk or a milk alternative if that's more your style. The difference in how satisfied you feel and how smoothly your digestion functions can be noticeable even after a short time. It's also good to remember that as we get older, medication interactions might influence digestion. For example, if you're on certain pills that slow down your digestive tract, you might benefit from increasing fiber to support gut motility. Conversely, if you experience digestive discomfort or reflux, you could introduce fiber more gradually, blending the soup to a texture that feels comfortable. This is where paying attention to your body's responses can truly pay off. By recognizing that fiber isn't your enemy and that a variety of vegetables can actually promote more stable energy and digestion, you open up a new world of possibilities in your soup-making routine. If you want to take stock of where you stand with fiber, maybe keep a little meal journal for a few days. Make notes on what vegetables you blended and how you felt later. If you see a pattern where certain vegetables leave you energized and comfortable, use them more often. If others aggravate your stomach, try cooking them a bit more or combining them with soothing ingredients like squash or sweet potato. Before we move on, consider this. Have you been dismissing certain nutrient-rich vegetables because you assumed you wouldn't like the taste? Blending allows you to sneak in things like spinach, kale, or even cauliflower without drastically changing the overall flavor. Mixing them in with carrots, onions, and a mild broth can create a balanced taste that's gentle yet nourishing. Go ahead and give it a try. You might be surprised at how adding this variety helps you feel both physically and mentally sharper, as your body finally gets the broader range of nutrients it deserves. By now, you've learned about 3 major pitfalls that can compromise the nutrition and enjoyment of your blended vegetable soups after 70. You've seen how overcooking veggies can deplete vital nutrients, how adding too much salt can spike sodium levels, and how neglecting fiber or nutrient variety can leave you feeling unsatisfied and undernourished. When these mistakes are avoided, you have a real opportunity to transform a simple bowl of soup into a comforting, health-supportive meal that works in harmony with your body. There's a gentle urgency in realizing that our nutritional habits directly influence how we age, from energy levels to maintaining healthy blood pressure and even supporting cognitive function. The great news is that improving your soup routine doesn't require a dramatic overhaul of your entire diet. It's about small shifts in timing, seasoning, and ingredient variety that can cumulatively lead to a substantial benefit. By making these changes now rather than later, you position yourself to maintain or even regain a sense of vitality that keeps you active and enjoying your favorite pastimes. Picture yourself in the kitchen a few days from now, choosing fresh vegetables with confidence. Maybe you pick carrots for their sweetness, spinach for its iron and vitamin content, and some lentils or beans for extra fiber and protein. You saute your base ingredients just enough to draw out their flavors, add a low-sodium broth, and simmer briefly. Then you blend them, noticing that glorious bright color and the aroma of fresh herbs. When you take the first spoonful, you realize you haven't drowned your soup in salt, and it still tastes wonderful. It's a satisfying moment, knowing this meal is working with your body, not against it. If you're feeling inspired, why not decide on your next step right now? For those who like to keep things simple, your first move might be to choose a few low-sodium stock options at the grocery store and start experimenting with new herbs and spices. If you prefer to dig deeper, you could plan a weekly soup night where you try different vegetable combinations, each time paying attention to how you feel afterward. For anyone who truly wants to optimize their soup making, consider speaking with a dietitian about any specific health conditions or medication interactions that might require additional tweaks. They can guide you toward the best ingredient choices for your individual needs. Another meaningful way to continue this journey is by sharing it with friends or family. Perhaps you have a neighbor who also loves cooking, or a family member who wants to eat healthier. You could plan a small soup exchange, comparing recipes and tips, and discovering how each person personalizes the flavor while keeping the core health principles intact. This sense of community can make nutrition more fun and less of a chore. It can also motivate you to stick with your improved methods, knowing that someone else is walking this path alongside you. Thank you for spending your time here and learning about these 3 common mistakes. By focusing on nutrient retention, mindful sodium intake, and a better approach to fiber and variety, you're setting yourself up for more enjoyable meals and a greater sense of well-being overall. You already have the wisdom of experience on your side. Now you also have some additional knowledge to help make your blended soups a nourishing delight. You don't have to accept bland, overly salty, or nutritionally depleted meals as a given. Instead, embrace the chance to refine your approach to soup making so you can savor each spoonful while giving your body what it truly needs. As you finish here, consider subscribing to more discussions like this if you want ongoing tips tailored to senior health and nutrition. You could also consult with a healthcare professional if you have any specific concerns regarding sodium, medication interactions, or how certain vegetables might affect conditions like acid reflux or arthritis. Finally, if you found these insights helpful, share them with someone who might also benefit. Spreading the word could help others avoid these common pitfalls and enjoy their meals more fully. The choice is entirely yours, and that's the beauty of it. Each decision you make about what goes into your soup pot is a step toward living more vibrantly on your own terms.